On ABC Queensland. Thanks for being with me today. 10 minutes until your 11 o'clock ABC News. And when you think about life, setbacks are kind of part of it when things go wrong. It's only like a failure if you don't learn from it, right? These things tend to happen every day. They can be small, they can be big. Last week, of course, the Bowen rocket launch was paused due to some issues there. In Queensland, all the time, every year we have natural disasters and perhaps less stakes. We have sporting teams and businesses that will face challenges as well. And sometimes you have to have a breath, pull your socks up and get going. Learn from it as quick as you can. Psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens is with me now. Good morning.
Good morning, Susan.
Thanks for being with me. So I guess this all comes down to resilience. What does that mean to you and why is it so important?
Yeah, to all the points that you mentioned, Susan, in the lead to the interview, that we do know that the most resilient people aren't those that go through life ducking and weaving and avoiding all of life's challenges. It's those that experience it. Another point that you made, we know that success leaves clues, and we know that disappointments in life offer us lessons. Each disappointment that we experience potentially offers us a lesson and moves us closer to the things that we're seeking. It's always challenging when we're going through them, but understanding that it's part of life's journey at both the community level and individual level is one of those things that really helps us to work our way through.
Setbacks can happen at different scales. Sometimes it's just a little thing like kicking your toe on when you're making the bed. Sometimes it can be big stakes setbacks. What are the first steps, though, that somebody should be doing after experiencing a setback?
Yeah, I think if you stubbed your toe, you're allowed to yell out. I think that's the first thing. Absolutely. But I guess on a bigger level is that immediate moment when we realise the setbacks happened, whether it be something as small as stubbing our toe or something bigger, is we do need a moment in time to absorb it. And it literally could just be a moment, or it might be a smaller chunk of time. That when we experience major disappointments, there can almost be like a grief reaction to them. So the first step is really just to have a little moment of time to absorb it and understand that's a really normal process. And then I guess it's that ability then to think about, is this something that I have some control over? Is this something that I can potentially change or influence? So thinking about what it means for you, what you do moving forward, and I guess coming up with some strategies for dealing with whatever the issue is.
I mentioned that in Queensland it feels like every year we're dealing with some sort of response to a natural disaster in some way. How can communities come together to support each other after a big disappointment or a crisis like that?
Yeah, I think we see really great examples of communities coming together. And again, whilst we'll all rather not go through particularly some of the weather events we've been through or the community disappointments, if we want to look at them those ways, that's the reality of life. And I guess some of the realities of living in paradise, isn't it? That with all the beauty that we find, we get the disappointments as well. But I think at a community level, we do see, I guess, one of those fundamental things we know from years of studying psychology is that people matter, and what we do best when we're going through challenges is we lean into each other. You'll always see the community responses, the volunteers that step up when times are challenging, and whether it be at the individual level, you're going through something personal, there's an understanding that what we generally tend to do is we need to seek out support and seek out help. And sometimes that can feel like a hard thing to do, but we do know that when we do share a problem, then sometimes its impacts understood or minimised a little bit more. So other people certainly matter, from the small micro levels all the way through to the bigger community events.
You're hearing from psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens. Sometimes when it comes to setbacks and failures, there can be a bit of shame there. Why do you think it's important to talk openly about when you do make a mistake, perhaps?
Yeah, I do think it's really important. We do tend to live in something of a success culture. We celebrate successes. You turn to the back page of the paper and it's typically about the triumphs of the world and so forth. So that's what we want. We set ourselves expectations to do well. It's disappointing, and I think that if we see disappointments as a sign of failure, then shame is an understandable emotion that might go with that. And when we can shift the way we think about those disappointments when they come along, and we can see them as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to be better, then, we're setting ourselves up for better times ahead.
What advice would you give to someone who feels perhaps a bit stuck after a setback?
Yeah, so it isn't running your course where you feel like there's improvement or things are getting better for you, then I would definitely seek out some support of some ways. And that might be someone who wants to support you emotionally through what you're going through. Maybe there's someone you know that might have some practical advice or some steps you can take. If it's a community thing, then there might be other resources that are available. But again, I think it's that once you've had the time to absorb whatever it is, to go out and seek the support and help that you want. That sometimes we think the support is going to come to us, but sometimes I guess we need that extra little piece of courage just to ask for help. And I guess when we see others going through challenges, that's what we want to offer them too, is an opportunity to support and help them along the way.
Psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you. You are on ABC Queensland. Susan with you this morning.